Welcome back to Our Heritage Reads. This is Being Married by Aziza Idris, read by Hafsa Tilly. Episode 7, Lessons Beyond the Silence. After silence comes movement. After endings, sometimes beginnings. Hawa steps forward, not without scars, but with the will to learn, to become, and to begin again. On Friday morning, Sagiru came into Inna's room panting. His right hand held a white card. "Kay, why are you always running around town like a mad boy? Can't you walk?" "Sorry, Inna. I just have to run for this. Ada Hawa, you need to see this." Hawa stopped folding their clothes and looked at her lanky brother, who stood several inches taller than her. "Sagiru, let this not be about one of your football matches," she warned. Sagiru pushed the card in her hand. "Trust me, this is way better than that. Ya Aliyu is getting married today. Guess who the bride is?" Hawa froze with the card in her hands. "Aliyu Gimba weds Safia Aji," the card had read in midnight blue ink against the white background of the card. Hawa flopped down to her knees, looking at the card more in disbelief. "If you think that is it, then wait for this." He plucked another card from his back pocket. "And this is the second one. Ada Hawa, forget about this man. He's not worth it. He is taking 2 wives in one day, despite Buffer's several messages for him to come and have a dialogue. It may sound harsh, but the man has totally played you. I don't think he loved you in the first place." Hawa gritted her teeth, hearing her brother's statement. "He did," she shot back. "He just fell out of it hard." Sagiru felt a lump lodge in his chest. He sat down next to his sister. "I'm sorry, Ada." "I am too." She blinked twice. "Get me the rest of the clothes from the clothesline, please, will you?" Sagiru looked up at the shadow looming from the door. Amina stood there, and when she nodded at him, Sagiru got his cue to leave. Amina came into the room and took her sister's hands in hers. "I am sorry. We placed so much hope on things getting better. We even led you to believe such." Hawa smiled at her. "This is nothing. I have already told you I'm meant for better things, and everything happens for the best. Ya Abdul said I've gotten admitted into the college. I am going back to further my education, inshallah." Amina was scared for her sister, and together with their elder sister Naibatu, they consoled Hawa until she finally broke down, accepting her fate. Chapter 5, The Guileless. Hajia Umma had seen days where things fell apart in her household. She had always been strong through them all. Her husband, Alhaji Gimba, was a merchant and rarely stayed in town. He was always out of town for his various trades. This brought her up in authority, as she was the cook, the chief judge, and sometimes the financial advisor as well as the manager in her home. But that morning, when Aliyu sat in her room with his head hung low, narrating his arrangement of getting married on that day, Umma had lost all words. "Umma, I need your blessings upon my plans. You can invite a few people if you wish. Here is something to make the arrangement. It is not much, but..." Aliyu moved forward and kept some money beside her on the bed. "Aliyu, I'll understand if you want to reconcile with your former wife, but taking a new wife again, and on the same day, I don't think that is a very good idea. Safia alone in your house is a walking disaster, and I don't feel good about the idea of another girl now. Here, I thought you would consider taking Hawa back. She is the mother of your child. And no, Uma, we have already been over this. Please, let's not get into that territory. There will not be another session of Hawa and me. We have already been over this. Please, let's not get into that territory. There will not be another session of Hawa and me. If I've wanted, I would have relented. But it is over with us, and it will never happen again. Oma nodded at her son, and I think this is your ego speaking. Sadu is taking the rest of the invitations to our uncles. Since when have you been planning the wedding? I don't think your father is aware you are getting married today. I don't think he knows there is going to be a multiple wedding. Uncle Ahiru knows. He informed Alhaji. Well then, I wish you luck, Uma finished, her voice trembling a bit. Oh, her heart went out to Hawa. When Aliyu moved to leave, Uma stopped him. You should be more prayerful, she said, and he nodded. When Aliyu left, Uma took her veil and purse and set out of the house in search of a taxi. She gave the driver the directions, and a few minutes later, they stood in front of Malam Hamma's house. Uma took in a long, shaky breath before she went in. He told us this morning, she said after all the pleasantries have been exchanged. Hajia Uma, please don't stress yourself about it. That has been written in their destinies. No one will breathe a second more out of what has been written. Let us pray that this is the best for them, Nabiba said. Uma spent half the day consoling Hawa about the event of the day, telling her to take that as a test, a phase in her life that will pass. It had passed, as just a few hours after the dual wedding, a delirious Safia went to Aliyu's house before she was conveyed to him. Her heart searing with the heat, she threw the wedding cards in his face. How dare you, she spat. But Aliyu remained unmoving. You can't sit there quietly. Look at me. You told me you were taking me back. Now, what is this? You knew I can't share you with another woman. You have to undo it. Tell them you have a change of heart or something. But Maria? How can I stay with Maria as a co-wife? Everybody in this town knows her history. She is a huge criminal, a notorious one at that. A gold digger and a magician. I cannot have her. Hey, you take a seat where you talk to me or get out of here, Aliyu said, his eyes only looking up then. Safia's mouth slackened as she took him in. Rearing her head back, she let out a harsh laugh. You did not just... She looked around the living room, then back at him. It is not your fault. I was the one that begged you to take me back. But we all know how miserable you were with that excuse of a woman you had as a wife. Everybody knows how loose she was. While you were there making ends meet to sustain her, she is out there servicing her needs, which you couldn't fulfill. Just because I'm back here to manage with you doesn't make me a fool like her. If you want me to stay and your little shortcoming to remain a secret, then you will divorce Maria. Aliyu's lips widened into a grin. Right now, you are standing in her house. Your house is not here. I've placed you next to the main house at Ungwar Bulewa. If you want to remain married, which we know you do, desperately if I may add, I suggest you walk yourself back to the appropriate place to call your home, as you wait for your marriageable husband to finish his time with his young bride. This is my wife's territory, and when next you step in, you should know that it is all hanging by a thread. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a bride waiting for me to bring home." Sophia guffawed. Something was awfully wrong somewhere. She couldn't believe Aliyu that she had wrapped around her finger was behaving this way with her. But she knew where the problem was. It was no secret that Maria didn't need a special help. She was the help herself. The notorious spinner that she was, the least she could do was make a man look into her eyes and he will be under her spell. Now was Aliyu's turn, but she will not back down. Maria must learn her lesson the hard way. Some chapters close softly, others open with a quiet defiance. Our story is shifting towards something new. You've been listening to Being Married by Aziza Idris, read by Hafsa Tilde, only on Our Heritage Reads. Until the next page, hearts break, but they also begin again.